Welcome to my garden. I'm home for the summer right now, so I thought I would show you some art I did in one semester of character design. We had 3 assignments throughout the semester, and then one final that we had to hand in together with a portfolio of all the artwork that we did during class. This was our first assignment. We had to design an elemental mage that kinda represents us. At first we had to take pictures of ourselves posing, just like Ethan Becker always tells us to, and then we made a few concepts for the different elements. The line art of this assignment had to be traditional, but we had to shade it digitally and add a few different variants of a color accent. I made concepts for water and dirt. Water because we needed more than one element, and it seemed like the most fun one to draw. And dirt because it was my second favorite after air, and it seemed much easier to draw, because I don't know how to draw flowy stuff. We were supposed to bring our assignment work with us every week to get feedback, but it wasn't always easy to not fall behind. In the end, I chose a concept that wasn't my favorite, but my teacher really liked it, and since I had fallen behind, I went with that one. My biggest struggle with the assignment was definitely keeping it realistic. I only really ever draw stylized people, so drawing actual real people proportions almost felt wrong. On the day of the deadline, we were supposed to bring A3 prints of our finals to class so that we could get feedback on them, but we never really got feedback for the whole project. Personally, I know that I'm not good with making nice, clean concepts and arranging them nicely, so that's something I would have definitely appreciated. The feedback we got in class for our projects was just about the quality of our concept, but never about the quantity or the presentation. That would have been very nice. This is kinda unrelated, but when I went back home to Germany, I had to wait for my train in Liège, and the whole train station was completely empty. We also went to a little animal sanctuary, where we saw an emu that made the weirdest sounds, but I didn't record them, and I got bit by an otter, and my sister got bit by a ferret. Anyway, the second assignment was about creating a god or a demon, and we had to mix human anatomy with mask-like features. Also, this time we weren't allowed to use line art, and oh boy, I never really tried painting without line art, and yeah, it's not my strong suit. I liked my concept and my light studies, but not so much the final. It looks so stiff and not painterly at all, and I really wish that I was better at it, but it's also hard to force yourself out of your comfort zone and paint something that you know will look bad at first. I also always use a lot of layers, and here you can really tell, because the layers don't blend together at all. Maybe I should just really try painting something on one layer. So if anyone has tips, I will gladly take them. But besides that, my feedback again was mainly that it was too stylized. The features were supposed to be unrealistic, but rendered in a more realistic way. The third assignment was an insect astronaut, and I think I might have misunderstood this one. We were supposed to create an alien inspired by an insect in a spacesuit, and this time there were no style guidelines. So I created some concepts, and then I went with this little guy because I thought he was cute. I was a bit tight on time, so the final drawing is definitely not perfect, but I really like the character and the colors. And then it was time for class again, where everyone brought their prints, and I realized that everyone else's aliens were much more realistic and not as nice looking. So there were no clear instructions of making a grungy looking character, but everyone else just did it anyway. This was also the last class and our teacher was sick and we had a substitute, so feedback was different, and honestly I don't know how much I messed up here because I'm very bad at reading the assignment instructions. But at least shading the green was fun. These were the 3 assignments we had during the semester, but we also had a 4-hour class every week where we would draw and paint and get feedback. We started with the basics, but it was very condensed and not super in-depth, so it really helped if you had prior knowledge of drawing people. In the first year we did have 2 semesters of drawing, but those only focused on objects and environments. The exercises we did in class were supposed to aid our assignment work, so at first we did actual human anatomy and pencil sketches. Sometimes we would take turns modeling in quick pose rounds, sometimes the teachers gave us images, and sometimes we had models come in for us. We also did some charcoal drawing and eventually some digital sketching, since most of our assignments were digital. Later on, we were also supposed to bring different kinds of markers and pens to spice up our sketches, or draw them in the style and color of another painting. That was pretty fun. We did have a 15-minute break in between, but it was still an intense 4 hours every Monday morning. We did get a lot done though, so I had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this class. Also, after all these animals had bitten me and my sister, we packed our suitcase, got up early and started our journey to the infamous, the one and only, the airport Berlin-Brandenburg. That's where we saw this vending machine and we also took a selfie with it. I tried making friends with a pigeon, but in the end it was all about the food for him, and we went on a plane to Hungary, where you got picked up by my friend Clau. We went to the Harry Potter cafe in Budapest, and we took a swim in the Balaton, and then we all went to the south of Hungary, put on very pretty dresses and high heels, and watched Clau get married. I also saw a trabi hobby, and ever since I spent hours of my life last year making one in Maya, I feel like I have a personal connection to them. We ended the party with a little swim in the pool before sunrise, where I took this picture, and I'm making this face because I didn't expect that the flash would be on. The final assignment was given to us before Christmas break. We had to create a Star Wars bounty hunter, and as someone who has never seen Star Wars, I wasn't thrilled, especially since we just finished another sci-fi assignment. My mother, on the other hand, was happy that she finally had a reason to make me watch the first Star Wars movie. I have to say, I thought that it would take them longer to blow up Darth Vader's Death Star spaceship, but with that knowledge, I decided that I knew enough and I got to work on the sketches. This time we had to paint a portrait and the full body, and once again I didn't read properly because I thought we had to work lineless, but after I struggled through the portrait, which again looked kinda stiff and flat, someone told me that we can choose, so I did the full body with line art. We also had to create some props for the character, and I could have sworn that we have to give them a backstory, so I came up with this whole thing, but after the hand-in, some of my classmates told me that we never needed that. We definitely had to make the character fit perfectly into the Star Wars universe, and since I realized that one movie didn't give me enough lore, I went on the Star Wars wiki a lot and asked my friends who had watched it. I did like my character in the end, and I thought that it was pretty Star Warsy, but my teachers really didn't like her shoes. Like, really didn't like them. They couldn't get over them. We had to hand in this assignment together with a portfolio, which included everything we had done in class during the whole semester. So that was a lot of scanning and cleanup. What I really liked was that we could add private art at the end as well. So I did that, of course, and I also brought my sketchbook to the presentation, which I think the teachers seemed to appreciate. Also, I would say that I'm pretty average when it comes to drawing and painting at DAE. So this is definitely a passing level, but it's absolutely not top of the line or anything. So maybe that's interesting if any of you are thinking about joining the school. This was definitely the most engaging class of the semester, and I didn't always like sitting there and drawing for almost 4 hours straight, but I liked how it held us more accountable in a way. Oh yeah, and after we came back from Hungary, I went to Hamburg to buy some snacks at the most famous grocery store in Germany. That was fun.
Ein Patent A, B und C und die 6.